Do you know what I used to do? I would sit with the official CISM book, a highlighter in one hand, coffee in the other, and I would spend hours making line after line. At the end of the afternoon, I realized I had only moved forward about 10 pages. 10 pages. And worst of all, when I tried to answer practice questions later, I could not even remember what I just highlighted. And to make it worse, English is not my first language. The second material and the exam questions are written in such a very specific and twisted way that in the beginning, I honestly thought, I will never get through this. So if that sounds familiar, trust me, I have been there. In this video, I will walk you through the study hacks I wish I had known earlier. The ones that help me cut down wasted time, remember the concepts, and actually get to exam day prepared. And stay with me until the end because the very last hack is the most underrated one. It is the single thing that made the difference between postponing forever and actually passing the exam. This is your CISM Minute with Laura, and remember, let's make security simple. Okay, quick background. I had not studied anything formal for over 10 years before tackling the CISM exam. Unlike many of you, I was working full time, training, trying to have a life, so I really needed a smarter way. I did not want my life to be working all day, study all night, repeat until burnout. That was never going to work for me. So I had to experiment, try different things, and slowly I built my own system. Not perfect, but effective. My first mistake was treating the CISM manual like a school textbook. I highlighted everything, reread paragraphs, convinced myself that if the page looked colorful, I was learning. Spoiler, I wasn't. And when I tried to find help online, it was not really much better. Most videos were endless lectures, an hour long, very academic, and I would still come out not knowing what governance actually meant. That frustration is exactly why later I decided to create my own playlist on the four CISM domains. They are the shortcuts that I wish they had existed when I was studying. Clear, short, and straight to the point with examples. Now, here's the first hack. Don't hide from your mistakes, collect them. Every failed question, every confusing explanation, I log them. And not just the right answer, but also why it was right and my answer was wrong. Over time, I noticed a pattern. The same tricky concepts show up again and again. That collection became now my personal map of blind spots. That's basically how my tricky questions pack started. It was not fancy, just a way to make sure that I didn't repeat the same mistakes over and over again. Another thing that saved me was using AI as a tutor. Sometimes the ISACA explanations are very vague, or they give you like a one line answer that does not really help and without examples. Instead of reading the same page 5 times, I would ask AI, hey, explain this in simple terms. Why is this answer right and the others are wrong? Give me an explanation from real life. It was like having a coach available 24/7. This kept me moving forward when I was stuck and stopped me from wasted hours in frustration. Now, let me show you how it goes with ChatGPT. So I am in a new conversation of ChatGPT. It needs first the context. So let's start mentioning that I'm studying for the CISM. And here we see how two abstract definitions are turned into something more understandable. Clear, simple, and with the examples, for example, of the vibe and the actual fence. I continue further. Let's say that I was not clear with the explanation. So then I ask, how do they show up in the exams? And then it gives you example and tips to recognize each of the terms and even some exam traps that I'm always mentioning in the channel. So for example, what should be defined first? The next case is on the planning. So you can say, I have 6 weeks to prepare for the CISM, and then you put all the constraints. So in this example, for the weekly study plan, I say I can only work Monday to Thursday, etc., etc. So you get this planning, and then depending on the result, you can tweak it a little bit to make it as realistic as possible so that it fits your daily schedule. And in this case, I continue the conversation mentioning that, yes, this feels a bit overwhelming. So then it gives me a few more tips, a day by day checklist in this case to go. Of course, the next option is to ask ChatGPT to give you CISM style situational questions. In this case, we're trying about incident response with 4 options and also the explanations about why the correct answer is right and why the others are wrong. So this one is gold because this is exactly what you will get in the exam, and you can see that it already highlights the keywords like first step, next step, etc., which are key because it doesn't mean that the other options are necessarily incorrect, but it is what we are always saying that there is one response that it is more correct than the others. So even on tough days, I used AI to get small practical habits to stay consistent without burning out. So instead of wasting hours being stuck in this way, I had a 24/7 tutor that honestly kept me moving forward when I thought that I was out of options. And in this last case, you can see that we are asking ChatGPT to give me 5 daily small habits to keep myself on track. Let me know if you would like a full video on ChatGPT prompts that you would benefit from for your daily exam prep. Passive reading does not really work. Active recall does. The brain learns when you force it to remember, not when you just reread. That's why quizzes and practice tests are so powerful. So I turn the key concepts and the tricky questions into flashcards. And I'm reviewing them everywhere on the train, waiting in line at the supermarket, 5 minutes before a workout. I use the apps like Quizlet and Anki on my phone, and suddenly that time became also study time. I did not abandon the official book, but I stopped waiting for the perfect 2 hour block. Instead, I left it on my sofa. Whenever I wanted to watch Netflix or scroll on my phone, I would read just 1 or 2 pages. No pressure, and over weeks, those pages added up. Another underrated hack is recovery. When I was tired, nothing stuck. But after CrossFit, a long walk, or even a coffee, I came back to study way sharper. Breaks were not wasted time, they were part of the process. So if you are feeling stuck, here's the reminder I wish that I had gotten. That's normal. Everyone feels behind, everyone feels like they are not doing enough. What matters is not perfection, is building small, repeatable routines that will move you forward every single day. So eventually, I connected everything into one loop. Save my felt questions, clarify them with AI, turn them into flashcards, and review them daily. That simple loop kept me consistent and confident. Now, the hack that changed everything for me, and the one that I think it is the most underrated. At some point, I realized that I needed accountability. So I posted in our internal chat, hey, I'm studying for CISM. Who else is preparing? Can we commit to a date? And somebody replied. We agreed for the same exact date and location. So when exam day finally came, we both admitted the same thing that without each other, we would have kept postponing the date over and over again. But the accountability did not stop there. Once that I had my date, I put it in the Outlook calendar and shared it with my boss and my team. So everyone knew. And yes, that was very scary, but it also made the exam real. And here's the extra part. I had a direct conversation with my manager. I explained that this certification was important for my development, and I asked him for the next few weeks if I could shift my workload a little bit. He was very supportive because, in the end, the company benefits you when you grow your skills. So, if you can, talk to your supervisor. Negotiate lighter responsibilities for a short period and then deliver on the rest after the exam. It makes a huge difference for peace of mind and for focus. All right, so here are some of the top questions I receive for exam prep. How many hours a day should I study? There's no magic number. Consistency beats intensity. Even one focus hour every day is better than cramming once a week. Do I need to read the whole book? No. Focus on understanding concepts, not memorizing every page. And 3, can I pass with just practice questions? Well, it is risky. Questions are great for practice, but without the concepts, you will fall for traps. So you do need both. If you want some extra help, I have also linked some free cheat sheets below. They are a great quick reference. And if you want a shortcut through the theory itself, check out my playlist on the 4 CISM domains. It is the version that I wish it existed when I was studying. Short, clear, and straight to the point. This is your CISM Minute with Laura, and remember, let's make security simple.